I was at my desk when Mom called, voice bright with excitement. Emma, wonderful news. Derek proposed to Stephanie. Our baby is getting married. That's great, Mom. Congratulations. We need to talk budget. Your father and I think 50,000 should cover everything. The venue, dress, catering. Stephanie deserves perfection. I waited, knowing what was coming. We'll need you to contribute 25,000. Family helps family. There was the phrase they'd used for 6 years since I'd graduated and started working as a corporate legal assistant. That's half the entire budget, I said quietly. You don't have major expenses and Stephanie is your only sister. This is once in a lifetime. $25,000. For a sister who hadn't spoken to me in 3 months except to complain about her engagement ring. I have rent, Mom. Student loans. But you're not getting married anytime soon, she said, the judgment clear. At 28, I was perpetually single in my family's eyes, which apparently meant my money should fund everyone else's milestones. You have that good job at the law firm. I'm a legal assistant, not a lawyer. Details. Your father and I are using retirement savings. The least you can do is help your sister. She's always been the sensitive one. You're more practical. Practical. The word they used when they meant less important. I'll think about it. Emma, we need to book the venue by Friday. I need an answer today. I looked at my laptop screen at the email from Whitmore Trust Management. Subject line, Trust Fund Maturity Notice Action Required. Let me check my accounts, I said. I'll call you back. The pattern had been consistent since graduation. Mom and Dad paid for Stephanie's education, apartment, car. She'd majored in communications and worked sporadically as a social media coordinator, mostly focusing on her brand, posting influencer content to 1,200 Instagram followers. I'd taken student loans. Worked 2 jobs through college. My legal assistant position at Morrison & Associates was entry-level, but I'd been proud. Just secretarial work, Stephanie had said at my graduation. But someone has to do boring jobs. Mom patted my hand. Not everyone is meant for the spotlight like Stephanie. You're steady, Emma. Steady meant they could count on me to pay for things. Dad's car repair, $3,000. Mom's medical procedure, $5,000. Stephanie's security deposit, $2,000. She'll pay you back when she gets on her feet. He never did. They had no idea about the trust fund. My grandmother had died when I was 10, leaving trust funds for both Stephanie and me, maturing at 28. The terms were strict, untouchable until maturity, and our parents weren't trustees. Grandmother had established it through her own lawyer, separate from the family. Mom and Dad knew about the trusts. They'd been furious they couldn't access them, but they'd forgotten over the years. Grandmother had been more successful than anyone realized. 18 years of compound growth had done its work. My trust had matured last week. I'd turned 28 2 months ago. The balance was $1.8 million. I called Mom back an hour later. I checked my accounts. I can transfer the 25,000. Oh, Emma, thank you. I knew we could count on you. Stephanie will be so grateful. I need the account details. I'll text them now. Oh, this is perfect. We can book the Riverside estate. I stared at the text with Dad's account information. I opened my banking app and set up the transfer. 25,000 from my regular savings to theirs. My balance dropped from 32,000 to 7,000. 6 years of careful saving, gone in one transaction. Then I opened my email and responded to Whitmore Trust Management, setting up a meeting to transfer the trust fund to my new private accounts. I scheduled it for the day after Stephanie's wedding. I wanted to see exactly how this played out first. The next 3 months consumed Mom with wedding preparations. Daily calls about flowers, menus, dress fittings. Stephanie posted constant content about her perfect wedding journey, including a post thanking my amazing family for making dreams come true. I wasn't mentioned specifically. Dad called once saying they dipped into more retirement savings than expected. Costs got away from us. But it's worth it for Stephanie's happiness. What about your retirement? We'll be fine. We have Social Security. And you're doing so well, Emma. If we need help down the road, we know you'll be there. 2 weeks before the wedding, Stephanie called directly for the first time in months. Emma, I need a favor. My bachelorette party in Cancun is more expensive than I thought. Can you cover the difference? Only 3,000. Stephanie, I already contributed 25,000. And I'm grateful, but this is important. All my friends are going. Please. I closed my eyes. I'll send it. You're the best. I'll totally pay you back after the wedding. She wouldn't. The wedding was everything Stephanie wanted. The riverside estate overlooking the water, 200 guests, designer gown, live band, open bar, 7-tier cake. I wore a simple navy dress and sat with distant cousins who lost interest when I said I was a legal assistant. During the reception, Mom gave a tearful speech about Stephanie being special, always knowing what she wanted. She's our shining star. We're so proud. Dad's speech mentioned me once. And thank you to Emma for being so supportive. Supportive. The word for useful for money. I left early claiming a headache. No one tried to stop me. The next morning I met with Richard Whitmore at his private wealth management firm. Miss Emma, your grandmother would be very proud, he said, shaking my hand. The trust has performed exceptionally well. Current balance is $1,847,392.67. He walked me through paperwork, the portfolio, tax implications. 2 hours to transfer everything to my new private accounts. I'd recommend not making large purchases immediately, Richard advised. Take time to adjust. I will. But first, I need to make changes to my current accounts. That evening, I closed all accounts my parents had emergency access to. Opened new accounts at a different bank. Transferred my remaining $7,000. Then I paid 6 months' rent in advance. Paid off my student loans completely. Set up automatic payments for utilities and insurance. I didn't tell my family. 4 days after the wedding, Mom called. Emma, there's a problem. We're trying to pay final vendor bills, but there's not enough money. What do you mean? We spent more than planned. The bar tab was $8,000. The photographer wants final payment. We need another $10,000. I gave you $25,000 3 months ago, plus $3,000 for the bachelorette party. Yes, but we didn't realize how expensive everything would be. Can you transfer more? I don't have it, Mom. Emma, please. We've drained our retirement account. We need you to help. Family helps family. You told me $25,000 would cover it. Things changed. Just transfer the money. I don't have it. You have your salary. You have savings. Don't lie. I have exactly enough to cover my own expenses. The wedding costs weren't my responsibility beyond what I already gave. So you're letting your father and me suffer? Let us default and ruin our credit. You made financial decisions without consulting me. That's not my problem. Mom's voice turned cold. I see. We give you everything growing up and this is how you repay us? With selfishness. You didn't support me through college. I took out loans. We gave you a home, Emma. We raised you. She hung up. The calls started immediately. Dad, Stephanie, Aunt Carol, Uncle Mike, all demanding I help pay the wedding debts. You're tearing this family apart, Stephanie texted. All because you're jealous. We're going to lose our house, Dad's voicemail said. Your mother is having panic attacks. I blocked most of them. Kept Mom and Dad's numbers unblocked but silenced. 2 weeks later my phone rang. Unknown number. Miss Emma? This is Richard Whitmore. Your parents just arrived at my office demanding information about your trust fund. My stomach dropped. What? They remembered your grandmother's trust. They're insisting we tell them the balance and that they have a right to access it. I've informed them the trust is entirely under your control and I cannot discuss your private financial matters, but they're becoming quite aggressive. Thank you for not telling them anything. Of course. However, I should warn you, they seem to think the trust is a small amount, perhaps 50 or 60,000. When I refused to confirm or deny, your mother said even that much would solve their problems. The next morning, Mom called from Dad's phone. We know about the trust, she said without preamble. Grandmother's trust fund. It matured last month. That's my private financial matter. How much is it, Emma? None of your business. It's family money. Grandmother was my mother. That money should help the whole family. Grandmother left separate trusts for Stephanie and me. It was her choice. We're $68,000 in debt from the wedding. Vendors are threatening to sue. We need you to help. You made choices that put you in debt. You spent more than you had. We did it for your sister. You did it for yourselves. So you could throw a wedding that impressed your friends. Stephanie wanted perfection and you wanted to be the ones who gave it to her. After everything we've done for you, what have you done for me? The question came out sharp. You paid for Stephanie's education, not mine. You gave her a car, not me. You funded her lifestyle while I worked 2 jobs. For 6 years, you've treated me like an ATM. We raised you, fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head. That's the legal minimum requirement of being a parent. You don't get a refund on basic child-rearing expenses. Silence. The trust fund is mine, I continued. Grandmother left it to me specifically, under terms that prevented anyone else from accessing it. She did that for a reason. How much is it? Enough that I never have to be your emergency fund again. Emma, please. We'll lose everything. You'll lose the lifestyle you can't afford. Get a financial advisor. Make a budget. Sell things. Figure it out like every other adult. You're cruel. No. Cruel is draining your daughter's savings for a party and then demanding more. Cruel is treating one child like a princess and the other like a servant. Cruel is your sister deserves a perfect wedding, while my account balance hit 0. I hung up. 3 months later I got an email from Stephanie. Emma, I know we haven't talked. Mom and Dad are really struggling. They had to sell the house and move into a small apartment. Dad came out of retirement for a part-time job at Home Depot. Mom is devastated. Derek and I are trying to help, but we have our own expenses. I know you're mad, but they're our parents. Can't you help? Please. I deleted it without responding. My phone rang. Unknown number. Voicemail. Miss Emma, Richard Whitmore. Your parents contacted me again, this time with a lawyer claiming the trust should be part of your grandmother's estate and therefore partially theirs. I've sent them the trust documents showing it was legally established as an irrevocable trust with you as sole beneficiary. They have no legal claim. I thought you'd want to know. I called back. They're suing. They consulted a lawyer, but any attorney will tell them they have no case. The trust is ironclad. However, be prepared for harassment. Thank you. One more thing. Your sister's trust matures in 8 months. Currently valued at approximately $1.9 million. I thought you should know given the dynamics. After we hung up, I sat back in my coffee shop chair. Stephanie's trust fund. Almost $2 million maturing next year. They didn't know yet. They thought they had 8 months to fix their disaster before Stephanie gained access. Stephanie, who'd never budgeted a day in her life. Who thought money appeared when needed. Who was asking me for help despite having her own windfall coming. I wondered if Mom and Dad would drain Stephanie's trust like they tried to drain mine. I wondered if Stephanie would let them. 6 months later, in my new 2-bedroom apartment downtown, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Stephanie. I need to talk about the trust fund. Richard Whitmore told me about mine. It matures in 2 months. Mom and Dad are already planning what to do with the money. I'm scared. Can we meet? I stared at the text. Then replied, coffee? Tomorrow at 2. Yes. Please. Thank you. I set down my phone and looked around my apartment. The one I'd furnished carefully, paid for with my own success. The home representing my freedom from being the family's emergency fund. Stephanie was about to learn what I'd learned. Money revealed who people really were. And sometimes, the most important thing you could do was protect your future from people who saw you as a resource instead of a person. The trust manager had called just like promised. The perfect wedding had perfectly backfired. And I was finally free.